You only have to think of your own behavior. Now, if you were scrolling your social media and you came across an ad for something you really wanted or something that piqued your interest and you clicked that ad, now there's a second. Now there's 2 seconds. Now there's 3 seconds. Let's be honest, you are out of there. Stop and don't spend another single cent on advertising until you listen to this. I'm Marianne Amies. This is Ready, Set, Paid Ads, digital marketing for paid ad success. Let's go. Welcome back to another episode of Ready, Set, Paid Ads. Today, we're going to be talking about 3 things to fix before you run your ads. Running a digital marketing agency for nearly 15 years now, I have spoken to a lot of business owners about digital ad campaigns. So, whether that's Meta ads or Google ads or TikTok ads, people often come to me ready to run ads, wanting to run ads, or thinking of ads as the magic bullet that's going to fix their business. But the fact is, you need to get your foundations right before you spend a single dollar. Running ads before your back end is ready is like pouring water into a leaky bucket and watching it flow out the other end. Often we get that feedback that ads aren't working or the ads aren't giving us the results we want. And when we dive deeper into those accounts, we can see that the foundations aren't there or the thinking and the strategy behind the ads isn't right. And sometimes the technical setup isn't right that are going to give the ads the best chance of performing. So today I'm going to break down 3 things that I want you to think about before you actually publish a campaign. And it's a real checklist designed to save you money, stress, and time. If you run off and create an ad and you're not even sure about your offer, you haven't tested your offer, you don't have a great website, or you're not even tracking that website through Google Analytics, let alone the tracking pixels of the ads platforms you're going to use, you're pretty much setting yourself up for failure. One of the first tasks that we do with all new ads clients is what we call a business audit and strategy. And the business audit section is actually about going through a landing page, looking at that landing page, understanding if it is optimized to convert, looking at tracking, looking at social media setup, looking at content that's performing. It's auditing everything that's already happening so that we can confidently create an ad campaign and build an ad strategy that is going to bring the results that you're looking for. So let's dive in and talk about the 3 areas I think you need to check off before you start running your ad campaigns. So, first off, offer clarity. If your offer is confusing, your ads will never convert. I recently had a client start a sale on their website, and the premise of the sale was add anything to cart, and then every item after that will be 40% off. And as a team, we sat there and workshopped that offer probably for 10-15 minutes to make it clear, to make it compelling. If we ran an ad with that title, number one, the target audience would be confused. But number two, the time it takes for them to break down what you're saying and interpret it and then be compelled to act, they're simply not going to give it to you. So we came up with offers like save 40% when you buy 2 or more items. And then further down, explaining simply add 1 item to cart and then you'll save 40% on every item after that. We had save 40% on your second item, brackets, and every item after that as another compelling, catchy offer. So you need to check, is the benefit of your offer crystal clear in under 3 seconds? Are you selling a product? Are you selling a transformation? Are you selling a result? And are the key details obvious? The price, the inclusions, the urgency. The offer in an ad is sometimes the most compelling thing we're working with. Obviously, an amazing video, an amazing graphic, really clever copy, they all help. But if we don't hook somebody in on a conversion based ad with an offer that they can quickly understand, they can quickly see the benefit for them and know what to do, we are going to lose them. So we also want to make sure our offer is really precise. So we want to avoid vague language. Join now, get started without the context of how. Get started today, simply click the link and unlock your free 7-day trial. Join now for 7 days for $99. Well, whatever that compelling offer is, we need to spell it out and saying things like, simply click the link or visit our page to learn more. It feels redundant. Like, why are we breaking this down in such hand holding language? But often that's what our target market needs. They need us to give them the guidance of what they need to do. We have to have a clear reason to act now. Often in a conversion based campaign, we do need a sense of urgency. And I'm not suggesting that you create, FOMO or ingenuine urgency, or only 3 left. But why today? And often that's why we ask our clients, what offers can we test? Because for a lot of us, if I saw an ad for a beautiful dress, but I don't have an event, why am I compelled to buy it today? So I'm going to be compelled to buy it today because there's some sort of offer. Maybe if I spend over $200, I'm getting free earrings or free shipping, or I'm getting a voucher for $50 off my next purchase. Whatever it might be, I need a reason to act today. So when we're looking at a conversion based campaign, it's really also important with that offer to have a reason why today. And then we don't want to say too much, whether that's in the ad or in the landing page. There is that sort of, I guess, we're sometimes compelled to over explain ourselves, to go into too much detail. An offer should be short, sharp, and to the point. It should be so compelling that within 7 to 12 words, somebody understands what the offer is, what they need to do, and why they should do it now. And it comes back to me again. I love to reflect on my long, long marketing history. But when we used to do billboards, so imagine a billboard that you drive past in your car. We used to say the best billboards have only 10 words on them. And that is because, in a short, sharp way, as someone drives past at 80 kilometers per hour, they need to be able to absorb that information and know what to do with it. And it's the same on your social media ads and your paid ads, thinking about the fact that this person is only going to give you seconds. The viewer, the ideal audience, are only going to give you seconds where they decide if this is something that they want or need. Another great way to get offer clarity is to be testing it. You can be testing it organically. Even your Instagram stories are a great place to test your offers organically before you roll out your ads. So, having an offer with a link for them to click, or having an offer with the love heart button, or having an offer with a poll in and asking them, is this something you would, does this sale get you excited? Using that as intel to help form those offers for your ads is going to save you that money in testing and learning through the ads platform as well. So now let's talk about your web page or your landing page. When it comes to things to fix before you run an ad campaign, I would say this would be in my top 3, if not maybe even my first. Your ads are only ever as good as the destination you're sending them to. You've convinced them to click, so let's not lose them, especially with the load time. A landing page's load speed, a website's load speed is so critical. You only have to think of your own behavior. Now, if you were scrolling your social media and you came across an ad for something you really wanted or something that piqued your interest and you clicked that ad, now there's a second. Now there's 2 seconds. Now there's 3 seconds. Let's be honest, you are out of there. We do not hang around, and we certainly don't hang around for things we weren't desperately seeking out. So that load time means so much. Meta actually penalizes you for the slow page and will force your ad costs to go up if your ads are having that poor response. So if you're getting great click through on your ads because you've got a fantastic offer, fantastic creative, great audience targeting, but when people are clicking, they're leaving, Meta actually reviews that behavior and then penalizes the quality of your ad accordingly. People will bounce 3 seconds. If the page hasn't loaded, within 3 seconds, they could be gone. And you're paying to get that traffic on your website, and then you are losing them. So you're not just losing the money of the click, you're losing the opportunity of the conversion. Also, mobile conversion rates. And let's be honest, for most of us now, our traffic is mobile. It's really good to look in your analytics and keep an eye on that mobile desktop split and be reviewing everything you build on mobile, whether that's your website or whether it's a landing page. You need to check it out on mobile. You need to see how it appears on mobile, where the buttons appear, if the call to actions are easy to engage with, and of course, if it loads quickly. And a great test there is to actually test it on 4G. So go where you get your most worst mobile phone connection, turn off your Wi-Fi, let the 4G roll in, and then try load your landing page. So, that's going to mean not having a lot of images, or if you do, making sure they've been compressed, streaming in video as opposed to uploading the video onto a landing page, keeping a landing page light and fast and efficient so that it can load well. Other hot tips to know how your landing page is actually loading is using the Google speed test or using GT metrics. GT metrics is one of my favorite ways to look at speed because you can look at the waterfall and it shows you what elements loaded in what order and what held things up. So it's a great one for then seeing that maybe it's your hosting that's really slow, or maybe there's been a code that is in conflict with something else that's slowing everything down, or maybe the images are too big and that's what's causing the time to drag. So it's a great practical tool to understand deeply why your page is slow and have some really actionable insights on how you can speed it up. And I've touched on it, but compressing images, not having videos, minimizing pop ups. If it is a true landing page, keeping it nice and simple. If it is a page of content on your website, again, consider if you can have more of a landing page. We do find for most ad campaigns, a landing page performs better than just the home page or the contact us page or the service page, because on a landing page, we can consciously tell a little story and take people on a little journey to the conversion that we want. But the other benefit of a landing page is we can strip a lot of the noise out of it, and that can help with the load speed. If you know that your site might take 3 or 4 seconds to load, consider like a loading bar if that's possible in your platform so people can kind of see, okay, 25%, 60%, 80%. That can kind of be quite nice if that loading bar moves rather quickly. Or if it's a multi-step process, you might have like section 1 of 3. And when they click that, then it's like section 2 of 3, section 3 of 3. Again, really think of your own behavior, what you find acceptable, what you find frustrating and off-putting, and make sure that your own experience isn't triggering the sort of behaviors that make you run a mile and make you shut that site down and go back to what you were doing. And now the last fix I believe you really should have in place before you start running your ads is pixel and tracking setup. If you're not tracking, you are flying blind. It's interesting. Obviously, in e-commerce sites, it's a lot easier to track a conversion. It's a lot easier to track, added to cart versus checked out versus purchased. With our lead gen and our traffic campaigns, it can be harder to track those things. But I think it's a conscious decision to look at tracking and to look at pixel setup and be discussing that, especially if you're using an ad manager, a freelancer, an agency, discussing how the tracking is being established and monitored as well. So the key actions here we want to think about is making sure our metapixel or our Google tag is installed on every page. Obviously, that can help us even understand, the length of time people stayed on pages, how many pages they visited. setting up our standard events. So as I said in ecom, we've got our purchase, we've got our add to cart. Across lead gen as well, we have the lead as a standard event if we've put the right tracking in place. So if your lead is filling in a form, you need to make sure that form can return to a thank you page, and that thank you page is what you track. Because every time that thank you page is shown, it means someone completed the form, and that means you captured a lead. If you are using something like a calendar invite as where that lead is going through, again, you want to be able to redirect that booking to a page on your website that you can then track as a conversion. This gets especially tricky when you're using third parties. So if you're using third parties for email downloads or lead gen or lead magnets or directing someone directly to a calendar, I think you just need to be very considered, as I said before, in that process and what that process looks like to make sure you can track. And then there's events like view content. Now, view content can be good. It doesn't tell us too much, but it can be an interesting metric to track, especially if we want to retarget. Test using Meta Events Manager and Google Tag Assistant. That's where you can actually validate that the tracking is working. So it's one thing to hear that these things are in place. It's another thing to actually track and know that they're working. And of course, I'm a massive Google Analytics advocate, and I would be making sure that my GA4 is set up and that within that, I can see my ad campaigns being tracked through that and be able to kind of understand more of that journey that people are taking on my site when they originated in paid ads. So, why does it matter? Why do we bang on about it, I guess, as ad experts? Without this data, it is very, very hard to optimize your ads. We can talk to you, the client, about the leads that you're getting and what's being generated, but the platform will never know. And when the platform doesn't know, it can't use its AI powers and its system powers to get you towards more of that good result. Every time something happens that is tracked, it tells the platform that there was success. So the platform then looks at, well, what were the audience factors? What was the scheduling? What was the placement? What was the creative? Okay, let's try more of that. So every conversion teaches the platform and allows it to better optimize your results. So when we don't have any of that data, we don't have that 360-degree feedback loop. Without our pixels set up, we cannot effectively retarget. We can't exclude people that have already purchased, for example. So if we're just retargeting traffic because we're not tracking conversions, you're asking me to buy that black dress that I already bought. And that is so frustrating as an ads experience and is totally wasteful on your budget as well. You also can't scale what you can't measure. So if that conversion data is not coming back through your platform, you do not know your actual efficiency, effectiveness, your CPA, your ROAS, all those lovely metrics that help us make decisions on whether or not an account is ready to be scaled. You need that data there. And even if you're just testing, set up the pixel now and let it collect data for future use. If you're working with an agency that, isn't asking you about your pixel, isn't telling you about conversions, they're only talking in impressions and clicks, and that's all you ever hear. That is a huge red flag that you do not have effective tracking in place and that you need to adjust, your systems. You might need to adjust your tech stack. You need to look at that journey from ad to conversion or to no conversion and understand all the ways that you can see that person and work with that person optimized by tracking them as well. So, what we've really focused on today are small things that are really important and not running into turning on ads and believing that can be your magic bullet. An ad is only ever going to be as effective as the strategy that's gone into it. And a killer ad doesn't mean a killer result. You need a solid back end behind it that supports it. So before you hit publish on your next campaign, go through this podcast episode again and use it as a foundation to turn those clicks into conversions. It sounds so simple. Offer clarity, landing page speed, tracking setup, 3 foundational areas to nail to get more out of every dollar you spend on ads. I really hope that this episode has helped you. And please, if you think it can help a friend, I'd love for you to share it with them too, or follow along for more episodes on how to get the most out of your paid ad campaigns. It's been lovely talking to you again today, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. That's a wrap on another episode of Ready, Set, Paid Ads. If you're looking for done-for-you services, training to upskill you in ads management, or free and paid resources to help you plan and execute better ads, head to wiseupmarketing.com.au. If you've loved this episode, be sure to subscribe for future episodes. And if you know someone that would love this podcast too, go on and share it.